Hello everybody, welcome back to language learning, or learning language. Words have meaning. Just picking up again from the Pour ou Para episode. Just a couple things I wanted to talk about translation, and we'll do a couple more just short examples. But the big thing I wanted to cover in this quick episode or lecture or lesson or whatever you want to call it is translation is a one-to-one function. I want to reinforce that context defines a variable. I also want to talk about people misspeaking, having poor grammar, and conventionalizing incorrectly. I'm a native English speaker. I'm a very competent human being. I misspeak all of the time. I conjugate verbs incorrectly, not even in an argument, just in a discussion or in a state of excitement. People are talking really fast, they misspeak, they conjugate verbs incorrectly, even when if they were to sit down and write a formal paper or write an essay, they would pick up on the incorrectness. And for picking up a second language or acquiring a foreign language, it's very... I never really, like in high school or in college, I never really gave learning a foreign language like a real actual shot. I was just trying to get through the classes. But I can see why this is a huge hindrance for people learning. Is native speakers will speak incorrectly. English people, every language speaks incorrectly. And the example I wanted to give from the last lesson was gracias por. You'll see it all the time if you type into Google right now how to translate thank you for from English to Spanish. It will say gracias por. And it says, well, when I just typed it in this time, it doesn't say community verified, but the first time I did, I typed it in wrong. Yeah, and it says community verified. That means all of the native speakers come up and says gracias. The way you translate thank you for in English is gracias por. And you'll see native speakers will do this all of the time. I follow Bad Bunny and Ozuna on YouTube. It's always gracias por. No buenas noches, no buenos dias, no bonjour. Gracias por translate literally to thank you by. And it is very apparent when you compare Portuguese, Spanish, and French. Now geographically, right, they're all right next to each other. So I don't know, phonetically, whatever word represents sound. Pour, en français, is pour. You pronounce it the same as pour in Spanish. In Spanish, pour is by, and en français, pour is for. So, but again, pulling together some of my math concepts and just natural numbers, this is very apparent, right? In Spanish you have pour, in French you have par, and with poor English you would say per. I've made some references in some of my other lessons about people's use of per, but this is it's by is the best translation. Per, what is the relationship of per and by in the English language? I don't know. I mean, it's not, again, fundamentally, no one can opine on these things. You can prove something. If you can produce a proof, that's fantastic. But when you're looking at the Portuguese, Spanish, and French language, like I said, you'll see this when I say conventionalize incorrectly. And just another slant example or reference, but people see that. If I said, Johnny has a GSW, I just use an acronym. What does that mean? You don't know. Now if a cop says Billy has a GSW, gunshot wound, and that's just a quick example, but that's the same for any ontology or any lingo where you start using abbreviations for any work environment, any industry, any technical terminology. That is what you're doing. You're taking a word, you're shortening the word, and then that becomes the context is now defining that variable. And now, specifically for pour y para, the context, there's not a single native person that will hear this incorrectly or that will misinterpret this. Because the order and the progression of the words, it's very clearly they're saying thank you, and in English you would never say thank you by. Thank you by the guitar. Thank you by, it doesn't make any sense. But it is conventionalized at the society level, and it's incorrect. That's why I really think multilingualism has very good benefits. Is this, if you just learn Spanish or just learn Portuguese, this would be kind of confusing. But if you learn a bunch of these different languages at the same time, it's very obvious, right? All of the words for, I guess not in English, but para and por have 4 letters. Por, e or a, par have 3 letters. And again, reading and translating is where this comes through the best. So I did want to point that out, and then even though I have up here translation as a one-to-one function, I think any reasonable person might say, I don't think so, Brad, right? If you, right, using the preposition que for Spanish, que or que. That's that or than. So how is that one-to-one? If it's a one-to-one function like in math, you put in one x, you get one unique y. There's one mapping from a range or a domain number to a range number. Well, again, it's the progression of the words. Words are defined in complete generality. So when you use them in a sentence, that's where the one-to-one function analog to language comes from. And now we'll just show you some more examples and conjugations of infinitive verbs in the Spanish and French language, maybe just Spanish, but what was I going to say? This will show you trying to translate. We'll just see how there's certain translations that don't make sense if you take infinitive verbs as to do something. Let's check out the examples. So now to highlight what I was just saying, I just had a all-purpose cleaner I have just sitting in my apartment, and it has a piece of the instructions are written in French. What is written in Spanish on the board is directly what is translated when you type this in to the French into Spanish. The sentence uses both par and pour, so it's a good example. And it just says une pomme par jour éloigne la saleté pour toujours. En español, una manzana al día mantiene la suciedad lejos para siempre. My French is literally, I know how language forms at a fundamental level, but past that, you just have to build a vocabulary. My personal vocabulary for French is a lot better than Spanish. Spanish is getting there, but I just don't speak either of them much. But let me type this. Let me read to you what if I'm going to type in the French sentence into Google, and we're going to translate that to English, and I'll read you what it says. So it says, une pomme par jour éloigne la saleté pour toujours. And it translates that literally to an apple a day keeps dirt away forever. No bonjour. Une pomme. One-to-one translation. An apple by day. An apple by day cleans, I don't want to say cleans, takes away, éloignement, distances, removes, I'd say removes, but that's probably not the best translation. Probably takes away. Éloigne, distances, the dirt for all days. An apple by day, cleaner, this is paraphrasing now, cleaner the dirt for all days. Pour toujours, for all days. Toujours, tout le jour, all the day. Toujours, all days. But you see, when you type it in the French to the Spanish, una manzana al. Par would be literally translated as pour. Al is to the day. an apple to the day. Again, my Spanish isn't great. Mantiene, cleans, takes away, removes the dirt, or again, I don't know what lejos is here, as suciedad, lejos. Again, I don't know. Para siempre. Por, para. This is correct one-to-one translation. Siempre is more of always, and again, my Spanish isn't great. Toujours is for sure, all days. But I don't know how siempre would be literal to toujours. But yeah, there's a great example. Like I said, it just uses, you see the Google translating par just incorrectly, or just, again, an apple by day. That sounds like a poem in English, or like we're about speaking 16th century French or something, or English. But the point is this is people's, you can't say what you don't know. You can't speak words that don't exist. Native speakers, this is what they're actually thinking, because these are the words that are available. So when you have these translations that even modified a little bit for the newcomer that's trying to learn the language, they're going to be confused out of their minds because it's not used consistently. So pour, en español is always by, pour in français is always for. So thanks for watching, learning language, words have meaning, and I did wanted to say I'll be doing again a lot more translations in these languages. I'm just trying to cover the things. You can go watch learn numbers or strictly the conjugations of verbs on 100 different YouTube channels or resources. So I like to stick to the things that are novel that I've discovered and I think really help people actually acquiring the ability to speak fluently. But conjugation indicates subject, past tense uses two words, future tenses modifies syllability. Again, I'll be doing another video on conjugation, but I did want to point out for the literal translations, at least in French, it's always, any Romance language or any language, it's always I have or I am, and then a past participle for the past tense, and then the future tenses, you're always going to modify the syllability. You're always going to take je suis, I am, je serai, one syllable to two syllables. Sera might be for il and el, but again, the point is you're modifying the syllability for the future tense and you're ordering and structuring words in past participles for the past tense. And we'll be demonstrating that more shortly. Thanks for watching. Words have meaning.